How many times did you say, well, you know, I just don't think he has what it takes while you're lying in bed with your wife?
Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on those notifications. And once you're done, leave a comment down below and I just might end up responding. Seeing as professional wrestling is compiled of big sweaty balls of multiple personality types and differing opinions, it's only natural that not everyone inside the pen is playing very well with each other. While the most legendary wrestling feuds took place inside of the ring, some of the most infamous rivalries wrestling ever saw happen behind the scenes. I'm D-Wick, and these are 10 wrestlers who just fucking hated each other. Number 10, CM Punk versus Jeff Hardy. Perhaps two of the most beloved professional wrestlers of the modern era, these two weren't exactly buddy-buddy during their respective runs in the WWE. Obviously, if you know these two, it's not like they blend that well. I mean, Punk lives a straight edge lifestyle while Hardy is the drug man. You know, you got Santa, the Easter Bunny, Peter Panda, and Jeff, the drug man Hardy. Those were my superheroes as a kid. I don't know what the fuck y'all were praying to.
Is this the moment for glory for Jeff Hardy? Swanton bomb! Hardy's got it! Hardy's got it!
The two's on-screen feud blended so perfectly into reality that no one even realized the bad blood really was red with these two. And it took Jeff Hardy's YouTube post calling the straight edge savior out for people to even realize that this was beef.
Fuck that guy. And I just have one message to CM Punk. Fuck you. I made you the straight edge superstar you are.
Number 9, AJ Lee versus the Bellas. Monkey see, monkey do, but replace monkey number 1 with a wrestling wife and monkey number 2 also as the wrestling wife, but after watching a third monkey, this saying clearly doesn't apply. Just like her husband, AJ Lee let a backstage feud bleed onto the big screen with her rivalry against both Nikki and Brie Bella, who in her opinion held an unhealthy monopoly over the divas and used their sexual attraction to pretty much kill an entire division.
A bunch of cheap, interchangeable, expendable, useless women.
That fucking iconic line AJ delivered about talent not being sexually transmitted, apparently that came from a backstage verbal dispute between these two, and a writer overheard it, loved it, and found a way to incorporate it into an actual feud. That's fucking awesome.
It's about time somebody breaks it to the Bellas. Talent is not sexually transmitted.
Number 8, The Rock versus Shawn Michaels.
Think about it, Mick, if you smell what I'm cooking.
While many of these backstage feuds are wide out there in the open with motivations and reactions clearly understood with the context, there's some feuds much simpler than that. We don't know everything about the feud between Michaels and Johnson, but here's what we do know. The Rock was once asked if he ever had interest in working with Shawn Michaels, and he replied, none whatsoever. The only possible reasonings we have for this are the fact that DX apparently tried to slow down The Rock's push in the 90s, which makes sense, these guys are assholes, and that HBK once disrespected The Rock's grandma, I guess? And yeah, that's it. That's the feud, guys. The dream match that never came to be because of a fucking granny diss track.
You run your mouth. Well, the sheriff's in town. The sheriff's back in town.
Number 7, Vince McMahon versus Jeff Jarrett. I mean, come on. Jarrett successfully snugged McMahon out of 300 fucking thousand. That's just badass. I don't care who you are.
But Vince, I've got a question. Can you afford it? I don't think so, or you wouldn't have paid me all that money just 5 days.
Props to the man for not only going and getting that bread, but returning to the same bakery he robbed 20 years earlier. That's a great metaphor.
Oh, look at it's this. Entertainment.
Well, exactly.
You all right with it?
Well, yes.
Number 6, Kofi Kingston versus Randy Orton. A very relevant feud of the past, seeing as Kofi's previous height was this on-screen feud. It's interesting to see how much behind the scenes might have affected his career. If it wasn't for Orton, maybe Kofi would have been able to reach the brass knuckle a little bit sooner, but hey ho, we're gonna take what we can get. The most well-remembered piece of this part of history was when Kofi botched an RKO during an 09 match that led the Viper to call Kingston stupid.
Goes for the RKO, connects! Kofi Kingston, jaw and face planted in the center of the ring. Orton
Stupid over and over again, which Kofi brought full circle an entire decade later by doing the exact same thing to him. Stupid! Once the spotlight made its way around. I really like that. I love Kofi just stupid. I'm done.
Pinned Randy Orton in critical fashion to make it one-on-one with him and Bryan.
Ultimately, we know the only time almost counts is
Number 5, Ric Flair versus Mick Foley.
We bled, sweat, and wrestled our way to greatness. You fall off a cage, you're great. That's bullshit.
A hardcore legend and a hardcore legend. Let's not to love with each other. Well, obviously life isn't always so black and white or fat and white. This is Ric Flair we're talking about here, and we all remember the Booker T Evolution storyline. These two had a lot of hate for each other in the mid 2000s, which both men talked about in their books, and over the years they buried the hatchet.
Well, Flair is illustrating what he thinks of Foley's literary masterpiece.
Hey, everyone always doesn't have to see eye to eye on everything. Fucking pair of legends right here. Ric Flair, Mick goddamn Foley. The two just didn't like each other. Shit happens, alright? Just let them beef.
You should have never... Hey, wait a minute. What's Foley doing out here? Foley said he was going to wait for tomorrow night.
Number 4, Triple H versus CM Punk.
Since you took the time to come out here and explain to all these people why you re-signed, I thought I'd come out here and explain to you why I re-signed you.
Oh, we're getting to that territory now. Let's become in serious territory. Alright, I see you, big fella. Well, this feud between CM Punk and, well, honestly, the entire WWE corporation is pretty legendary, but Punk's biggest backstage enemy, it probably wasn't no Vince McMahon. It was probably his son-in-law. It was this fucking guy. It was Papa H. If Jeff Hardy was a perfect Punk foil based on his straight edge lifestyle, that's not great. If Jeff Hardy was a perfect Punk foil based on his drug usage, then Triple H is the perfect Punk foil based on his personality type.
I think that you're a smug, overrated, attention-seeking guy that puts a little bit too much stock in his own hype.
CM Punk is a rebel. He defies the authority. Triple H was a rebel who became the authority. He sold out, married in, and took control of the company. These two have always hated each other, and well, it essentially boiled down to both men have big egos.
You want to talk about egos? Well, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, let's talk about egos.
I mean, Triple H thought CM Punk thought he was too good. CM Punk thought Triple H thought he was too good. That's like the crux of this backstage feud, and I'm not even kidding.
How many times did you say, well, you know, I just don't think he has what it takes, while you're lying in bed with your wife?
Number 3, Matt Hardy versus Edge. The feud that got real. This time, this whole thing is feuds that got real, but this is the feud that got really real because a woman is involved. This time we have Matt Hardy and Edge when they basically fought over Lita in the mid-2000s. If you don't know the story by now, Matt Hardy had been dating WWE female wrestler Lita for a very long time going into 2005 when Lita had a backstage affair with Edge that caused Matt Hardy so much anguish that he got fired for mentioning it online.
I took your woman. You lost your job. Granted, you came back with all these grand plans for revenge.
Yikes. Yikes, that's rough, but not as rough as the affair relationship being brought to television once it became a real relationship, allowing Matt Hardy to return to the ring and feud with Edge over Lita in kayfabe, who, keep in mind, actually cheated on him, like, in the real life. Holy shit, dude.
Think of your fans, think of everybody. You got to kick him out. Oh my God.
Number 2, Hulk Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior. One of the most legendary backstage feuds of all time. The Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan pretty much were on opposite ends of the career retrospectives of each other until the day Warrior died in 2014. Pretty much until he fucking dropped. It all just about boils down to the fact that both men believed themselves worthy of being the biggest star in professional wrestling, and the other man's existence was always just a nuisance. For Hogan, Warrior was always something of a threat, and for Warrior, Hogan was always the monopoly of the business. Ego seriously does drive this business because this feud was entirely ego-based and it didn't go fucking anywhere.
At the big splash, 1, 2. He got him! Unbelievable!
And number 1, Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart. This is the most obvious number 1 that we'll probably ever have. This is just easy. Pretty much just copy-paste exactly what I said about Hogan and Warrior, except make both guys younger, up-and-coming talent who know damn well they should be the ones paving the way of the future.
Talk about family values. You'd like to hit me, but you don't have the insights to do it.
Also, throw in some more backstage disputing, HBK accusing Hart of having an affair with Sonny, and you know, the whole Montreal screw job situation where WWE's CEO came out, not a big deal, just screwed Hart out of the WWF Championship in his hometown, only to give it to his #1 enemy, Shawn Michaels. Good times. This is some good times.
Are you going to try to beat Bret Hart with a sharpshooter? Yes, he is! Are you kidding me?
And those are 10 wrestlers who fucking just despised each other in real life. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments down below after liking the video, subscribing to the channel with notifications in that bell. God fucking damn. Ooh, I was about to do the Keemstar thing. I ain't doing that bullshit. I'll see you guys next time.